Right, here to talk about an interesting one today. Going to skip through it quite quickly because each one of these could warrant a program all on their own. It's basically talking about moderately modern history, making references to contact with aliens and direct links, which are pretty wacky but correlate through different periods of time, and how the engineer to become the engineers now, basically transhumanism, and how it all interconnects basically. So, first character is John D. Queen Elizabeth, close advisor into the occult, believed he had astral projection contact with an alien. Um, so Spanish Armada's coming in. He just turns around to her and says, I've been told it's going to be a great storm, it's going to be wrecked. And so it happens. On the Irish coast, the Armada's destroyed. We'd been speaking Spanish here probably now, if that hadn't been the case. So this was meant to come from an alien. Jumping on in time, George Washington, absolutely getting hammering from the English in, trying to take the US in the woods. All his men have got frostbite, malnutrition, short on food. Goes into the forest, has a vision, actual while he's awake, with this mythical, shining white woman. Says everything's going to be fine. You're going to take over, and you're going to create the Republic of the United States of America. Happens. All rolls out. George Washington, big into Masonic. People around him very forward thinking, and Jacob's Ladder, a very Masonic sign. People are meant to think that it goes up to heaven. Actually, in the picture which he had commissioned, a ladder goes up to a flying saucer with lights coming off it. I mean, crazy, but the painting's there. Then we skip on a bit of time to Nazi Germany. Maria Orsink, Sigurd, psychic mediums thought they were in contact with the Taurus, a couple of planets on the Taurus constellation of aliens, giving them information how to build flying saucers, scribbling it out, and very much like the Vinamars of ancient India, which were meant to be flying saucers with which the gods, had as war machines. Sounds pretty crazy, but then you think the war finishes, Operation Paperclip. They had all this advanced Tesla lasers, Foo Fighters, the Bell they were developing numerous sorts of flying saucer at different sizes, called the Hannibals. There's pictures of them if you research the internet and look at blueprints and things like this. And, they said to this guy, they said, how did you get so advanced so quickly? And a quote, this isn't a medium, this is a scientist, he puts his finger up, and he said, we had help from other worlds. Crazy. Skipping on again a couple of years, Admiral Byrd. War's over. Meant to be on a peaceful mission going down to Antarctica, where Hitler had Base 211 built, where a lot suspected that he lived to the 50s in quite peaceful time until the Yanks nuked him. I mean, that's another story altogether. But Admiral Byrd went down with all these battleships, all these Marines, already very strange for an expeditionary mission. Meant to be a 9-month mission, came back after a month and a half. Battleships, they've lost a battleship, they've lost a frigate, they've lost numerous amounts of Marines and men. They've lost, I believe it was one of the boats, the planes that land on the water, and a couple of fighters as well. All very strange. He made statements when he came back to the US about soon enough we'll have to fight superior fighting forces with technology, with vehicles that can go from pole to pole in minutes. And this is all wrapping in with their paperclip and all this sort of stuff. And Maria Orsink, believing they had all this psychic ability to get these blueprints for this weaponry. Then we move on to, for me, an even more credible source, General MacArthur. Highly decorated Yank, absolutely amazing general, tactician, brilliant. Went into Korea, did some master strokes, almost pushed right the way to the top. Then the Chinese came in, ended in stalemate. Long story short, MacArthur was furious, but on the banks, on the way home, he said, guys, in soon enough, these conflicts are going to seem insignificant. We're going to be fighting armies from other worlds with high technology. This was like an old school guy. This was like crazy talk for someone like this. So where's all this sort of leading? Ancient astronaut theory. People talk about aliens and say that we were DNA spliced, are sometimes treated as crazy. Now, the people that are crazy think that some guy turned water into wine and, peace, love, and all that sort of rubbish. I mean, he was just like a hippie Darren Brown sort of character in my book. And so now, what's happening now? We're DNA splicing, we're geoengineering, we're not quite terraforming, but we're close. We're geoengineering. The military's probably 200 years ahead of us. They say 80, but 200. DNA splicing with all sorts of animals, almost like mythology, mixing up. I mean, there's a lot of proof this sort of stuff's going on with mancanzees and stuff like this. So, we are now the gods. We haven't quite got the space travel yet to go terraforming other planets and stuff, but we're not far off. We're now DNA splicing. We're now creating new races or designing babies, blue eyes, brown hair, blah blah blah. We want these sort of features. So what we treat is crazy that a lot of people find a lot of evidence in ancient monoliths and hieroglyphs and stuff, and for me, modern statements, is treated as quirky, it's treated as weird. It's not. If you take the evidence and you look at the Darwinian theory, which obviously is evolution, but you look at all the links which are missing for monkey to us, they haven't really got any answer for that. We haven't found that yet. Well, why are we finding dinosaur stuff? Reams of it, but we're not finding all the missing links. It's because we were DNA spliced. Our world was probably terraformed a little bit, and we had a helping hand, and that's why we are like we are. And now we're becoming the gods. And within, I don't know, 200-300 years, we'll be terraforming other planets, and we'll be DNA splicing animals and stuff. I can tell you, sounds crazy. You might just think, what a whack job. I don't really care. For me, it's more obvious than you could ever look at any other rational situation. My thoughts.